Hello everyone, I'm Binod from South Asia, Nepal. Today in this lesson I'm going to talk about how I developed my English, how I became a fluent speaker of English, how I developed my different skills of language, for example, listening, speaking, reading, writing, and grammar, pronunciation, and other vocabulary aspects of languages. So in this lesson, I'm going to share my success stories and my hardships that I faced when I was learning language. Therefore, this video is going to be really helpful for you. So I want to ask you different questions in the beginning, then I will share my history. In the beginning, let me ask you some questions. The questions are, for example, are you a native speaker of English and planning to or trying to be English teacher or a public speaker? Are you a student or learner and planning to learn speaking, reading, writing in English language? Are you preparing for IELTS and TOEFL? Are you preparing to study in different universities of the world? Are you a lawyer and planning to learn English language and advocate in English? Are you a professor and you want to learn about your students and want to develop some sort of public speaking for your students as well? Are you a trainer and teacher? If yes, this video is exactly for you. You can get some of the ideas here. I'm sharing my experiences in this video. In the beginning, I pretty much believe that you will have a wonderful journey if you analyze my experience and my video here, and you'll get to know how I developed my English without going to institutes or without meeting any native speaker of English. I just learned myself, and it was a hard time for me, but even though I learned it. So what I believe is, if you are okay with these things, if you have good English, and if you learn some techniques to learn English from my video here, you can teach, or you can teach anyone at your office, at your school or university or college, wherever you are, you can develop your English. So this video is not for a particular person or a particular group of people, but this is for everyone who are trying to learn develop their English and want to use proper pronunciation where they can talk or speak or can deal in English like a native speaker. So I hope this video is going to be really helpful for you. I want to share my story now. I'm motivated to design this video. I'm motivated to design this video because I go to different places to train the teachers to help students learn better, speak better English with proper pronunciation, intelligible pronunciation, and go to different parts of my own country, Nepal, which is in South Asia. Also go to different countries where I help teachers develop their speaking and provide them techniques of language learning, and so that they can directly use in their classes. And frequently I'm asked different questions of myself. How did I develop my English? How did I make my English like that of native speaker? So these are the questions that I get from different teachers. For example, how do you speak like the native speakers speak? Native speakers here, I mean the people from America, Australia, Canada, Canadian Americans or British people. How do you develop the accent as the native speakers do? These are the questions about pronunciation and speaking and reading and writing. As I go to train the teachers, they ask me different questions. They want to develop their English and they want to make their English really beautiful. So in this video, you will get to know how I did develop my English from the beginning, from the get-going. How did I do it, and what I am doing, what I am still doing. You will have proper idea on it. So after I get these questions frequently from the teachers, from the students, from audience, I go and address in English and they find my English better, and I'm motivated. I thought, why don't I share these experiences of mine, how I developed it and how I became fluent speaker of English to the public, to the people around the world. So I want to help the people of the world, and I want to help you guys really. So I'm going to put these things here in the YouTube, and you can directly access these things there. Let me share my experience, how I started to learn English, where I studied, and what sort of exposure I got. These sort of things I want to share with you today. So let me begin. To begin with, I am from far western development part of Nepal in South Asia, where we speak one of the dialects of Nepali language, that is Dotili dialect. It's in far western part of Nepal. I studied there. When I was 8 or 7 or 8 probably years old, I got to know about some alphabets of English. I had English teachers there. They taught me English, but whatever they taught in English was all in my native language, that was Dotili language. I learned some of the alphabets in English language at the age of 8. So at the age of 8, I was in class 4, and I remember I didn't learn English properly there because everything was taught in Dotili language. So not even standard Nepali language. You know, I had a hard time in grade 4 where I recognized alphabets of English language. It means A, B, C, D up to Z. But I couldn't develop a single sentence in English language. So when I was in grade 4 at the age of 8, then I gradually, you know, I didn't have any idea of English language, though I saw books there, I practiced a little bit English there. I was taught by my teachers a little bit, but that was in my own native language. I never thought that, English could be taught in English only. So what I did was, until grade 10, when I was 13 or 14 years old, I didn't know even how to develop a single sentence with proper grammar and vocabularies. So what happened was, speaking was not the priority of my teachers, though textbooks were there. Nobody practiced English when I was in grade 10 at the age of 13 or 14. Then I hardly got pass marks in English subject. Then I enrolled in class 2, or what we call higher secondary education, class 12, 11 and 12. There, even there, in that level, I didn't get a chance to speak with people. I mean, my teacher didn't teach me how to speak English language there. So what they taught was everything, that how to write in English, how to read, whatever is there in the textbook. And since there are 4 skills of language, listening, reading, writing, and speaking. These are the 4 skills of language. And I was never asked to practice these things until grade 12, or let's say higher secondary education. I was not given any sort of techniques where I could speak with my friends. I could, have communication in English. I could have, some sort of conversation and group discussion in English. But I never knew about it. And what happened was, my teacher still taught me in my own native language, that is Dotili language. So that was the case. But later on, whenever I finished my intermediate, class 12 or grade 12, what happened was I enrolled in my first university degree. That is what we call bachelor's in education. There, that was in city area. That was in not rural area. My college was in urban area, city area, where I got, the chance to see people speaking English there. What happened was, the teachers they encouraged me to speak English. Then I only realized that English could be taught in English only. English could be learned in English only. Until at the age of 18, I was learning English in my own mother tongue. I didn't know. So later on, I saw people speaking English, my friends and teachers, and I was so shocked how people are speaking English. English can be spoken, sort of things. I was really shocked in the beginning of my university enrollment. So later on, gradually I was motivated. I was motivated to learn English, and I saw people speaking English. Then I thought I could do it. I could improve my English. I could learn English. I could speak in English. Then I started to develop my English, especially speaking. At that time, I was 22 years old. Consciously, I started to learn English language, especially speaking, when I was 22 years old. So it was the time that I practiced a lot. I made my friends, those who spoke English there. I made my friends who could practice their English. I made my friends who could communicate with me and have conversation in English. Had a strong feeling of developing their English speaking especially, and I was really motivated. I was motivated. I did everything for learning speaking especially. So I went to different libraries, and some of the ideas that I got to develop my speaking and English overall was I read English newspapers in the beginning. So what happened was there were English newspapers were my best friends. They were my best friends, and I bought the English newspapers every day, and I bought a good dictionary. That was OALD, Oxford Advanced Learner's Dictionary. That was the dictionary that I bought, and what I did was I read newspaper wherever I was confused about the vocabularies, whatever I got there, I could consult that one. So that was the first stage that I applied for developing my vocabulary. Second one, what I did was I met my friends, and I made my friends, and they were my friends who had a strong desire to develop their speaking. And for that, what we did was we used to talk in English, and we practiced in English. Everything, whatever we used to talk, whatever we wanted to talk, we talked in English only. That provided me a sort of exposure. I developed some sort of confidence to speak English. Otherwise, I could have some sort of humiliation. And I was humiliated to talk in front of people, thinking that, oh my God, if I talk to people like this, I may commit mistakes or errors. If I speak in front of people, they may identify my mistakes or errors in grammar or in pronunciation. That was terrible, And I had to, hide myself somewhere else instead of speaking English in front of people. But what I did was, literally, I made some friends. We used to talk together. Then, gradually, I developed my confidence. I developed a sort of inspiration. I developed a sort of motivation to speak English and practice with friends. That was the history. And next thing, what I did was I would consult a dictionary where I didn't have any mobile that time. I couldn't get a chance to record my voice where I could, record my voice. But I didn't have any mobile, but I used to write the, correct pronunciation, because since I had very good idea of the symbols in English language, vowels and consonants, everything, the sounds that I learned very seriously, and I could consult dictionary and I would translate phonemically. So that's how I developed my pronunciation, especially. For vocabularies, I read newspapers, different books, So since then, I started to develop my English properly in terms of, grammar, in terms of listening, in terms of speaking, reading, some other skills of language. Every single day was hard. Every single day was difficult. Every single day was unbelievable. Every single day was very, very problematic. So what I did was I continued. I remember one of the incidents that I faced. What I could do to listen English is something like, there were many private schools, in a city where I studied, and what I could do is I could go to go near the fence or boundary of that school. I would listen to the teachers, their morning assemblies. Every day they would speak in English and instruct his students in English, and I would hide myself near the boundary and listen their English to get the exposure how people speak English. And that was a hard time. And by the way, I bunked my classes. I went for listening their speeches in the morning assemblies. That was really, if I remember nowadays, it makes me laugh. But that was a really good journey for me to develop my speaking. Then I started to develop it. I developed and developed and tried and tried and tried, and I never got bad. So what happened was I kept going, kept going, kept going. That made me a sort of very strong person. That provided me a type of confidence. That provided me a type of motivation. After that, I made my English good. Though I spoke English all the time, and I still remember my friends used to take me as an indifferent boy because I just communicated with them in English only. So they could like take me something, this guy is terrible, like he speaks English all the time, and we don't want to speak English. So I was like developing and improving my English. My intention was to develop my English. Nothing more than that. But people take us like something else, like if you speak English in front of people, like they think you as something like, terrible guy, speaks English, sort of things. And to my students, what I say is, I ask them, please do not hesitate, do not get demotivated. What you do is you just keep speaking, keep practicing, and don't care about people, don't care about your friends, don't care about your mistake, don't care about your errors. In the beginning, I committed more than 95% mistakes. My pronunciation was terrible, my grammar was terrible, my vocabulary selection was terrible, but gradually I developed very nicely. So what happened was, after that, I joined one of the institutes of my friends where I taught English language there. I taught some English subjects, second language acquisition. I taught English, how to twist English, methodologies. I taught grammar and pronunciation courses. So in this way, I was able to develop my pronunciation, I was able to develop my speaking, I was able to develop my overall English language journey. The second thing that I used to develop my speaking as a whole, the English language, was I recorded my voice in a cassette player where I could listen to my voice and improve it and consult dictionary and record it, re-record and listen and get feedback from it and reflect on myself. And in this way I improved my speaking. And next thing what I did was, this is really a wonderful event. After I finished my first university degree, what I did was I went for a second university degree in capital city, Kathmandu in Nepal, where I had really hard time to make money and restudy. Therefore what I did was I joined some schools there and I taught in schools, the young learners and also adults. So from there I made a little bit money which helped me to pursue my education plus my living there in Kathmandu city, and I had a wonderful time there. In 2012 I had my friend from same place. So what happened was we rented a room in a house where we stayed together as the roommates, and we practiced our English for 2 years. And we practiced and practiced and practiced, and it was wonderful time with him because he also had the same goal of improving his English, and which made a very wonderful result. What happened was we were able to score really higher in our university degree in different subjects, and also we were selected for different schools to teach English language, and that's how we developed our English there. We practiced together, we learned some sort of pronunciation skills, we learned some sort of vocabularies, we every day practiced from different books, different grammar books, pronunciation books, we recorded our voice, and we had a wonderful time. So I still remember an incident where we had to speak English only all the time, whatever we did during cooking time or studying time or visiting time, where we went, we had to speak English only. Otherwise, we would be in fine. So there was fine system. We had to pay if we spoke Nepali or our mother tongue. That was really wonderful time with us. So that made a lot of changes in my pronunciation, my speaking, my ways of speaking, my teaching, everything. So that is a kind of techniques that I used. After 24/7 practice with friends, I got a chance to teach in different schools and colleges and universities where I got even more exposure to learning English there. And I've been teaching English and training English teachers for 7 years. And nowadays I'm a teacher trainer. Not only a teacher trainer, but I am also an international trainer, where I train the teachers from America, UK and USA and New Zealand. Most of them are native speakers of English. So from from the beginning, I started to learn English and practiced a lot, where I had to do a lot of work, and frustration was there, also motivation was there, but at last I became an international trainer where I could train teachers. So this is a journey of myself and how I developed my English, and how one has to practice, and one doesn't have to stop there. You also have proper determination to go ahead and improve your English. If you like this video, please don't forget to share and comment and ask me different questions. And for the videos, some more videos, you have to ask me what sort of videos you like and you want to watch, and I will make according to your comments there. And I also will be doing some sort of other videos, series of videos, where I'll be discussing about language learning journey, plus some sort of grammar, pronunciation lessons and other lessons too. Okay, what I hope is you will use these things in your life and develop your English, and you will be fluent speaker, and comment me if this video helped you. Thank you so much for watching.